Hey, Arcturus here. Today, we're looking at a different set of minis than the usual Games Workshop fare. Uh, we're looking at minis for Dungeons and Dragons. These are from dndmini.com, and I picked these up because I wanted a Beholder mini, which you can see here. And I also picked up a Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures Mystery Box, which was on sale for half off. It comes with a Chimera miniature, 4 single pack unpainted minis, 4 double packs, and 3 tall packs. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look at what came in here. I haven't actually opened this any more than what you see here. And the two on top are, of course, the Beholder and the Elandrin miniature. So we'll take a closer look at those. I'll move this box down so we can see a little better. And then we'll take a look at the actual miniatures. So it's very possible I wound up with a bunch of duplicates that they used to remove stock. It's very possible. But as of filming this video, the mystery box is still available if that's something you're interested in. This isn't a sponsored video or anything. Their site requires you to spend at least $20 to get your order to ship. The main thing I wanted was this Beholder miniature, which comes unpainted, but we'll go ahead and open this, get a better look. So we have a stand, some extra eye stalks, and then pull this out somehow. And then here we go. A nice Beholder. The iconic Dungeons and Dragons monster. Some nice little details there. Rather hefty chunk of resin. Some extra pieces, some stands, some eye stalks. Looks like some of these can actually be removed. It's a little odd that they aren't all glued in there, but gives you some extras, which is nice. Yeah, so we'll just set him back in the plastic so I don't damage him, maybe, or not. You know what, we'll just set him off to the side, and maybe we won't open the other ones because they might be kept better in the box. We also have, I actually taped this box, so I'll just have to tear it open. So I have a Spring Elandrin, which is, if you're not familiar with D&D, it is a Feywild's elf. Or at least that's what it was previously. They may have changed it in the most recent edition. Now this mini is apparently pre-painted. So here we go. Here's the Spring Elandrin. They are the Feywild's elves and take on the appearance of the seasons. So, in spring they're green, and summer they're gold, and fall they're autumn colors, and in winter they're blue and white and gray and that sort of thing. So, nice little miniature. Nice little add-on, I guess. So for the first ones, we have a Stone Defender and Oaken Bolt Thrower, which is, looks like a construct. Looks more mechanical than stone, but interesting. It also comes with 2 little bases to set them on, or you could just use them as is. And then, War Machine, so that could be fun. So that's one of my 2 packs. Next up, we have some Grungs, 3 little toad monsters, or frog monsters. They're kind of cool. Paint them up like poison dart frogs, I think. We also have a Red Dragon Wormling. That's nice. Smaller dragons are always cool. It's got a little clear bit for the flames that I'm not sure will come out through the camera. And also a small piece of treasure with a small little base, I think, for the treasure, though maybe that's for the dragon. All right. Then we have an Ice Troll. A larger mini here. Very troll-like. Hefty resin here. Appears to be a female troll. So that should be the 4 singles, I think. Not exactly singles, but I guess about the same size. So I'm supposed to get 4 of the blue, 4 yellow, and then 3 larger and a Chimera, I think, if I understand the box correctly. So I got another beholder type monster, the Death Tyrant, which is an undead beholder or a lich version of a beholder. That's pretty cool. So they've got it here painted up with little eye stalks being in clear plastic, and then some purple for the actual eye. That's really cool. That is excellent. Kind of didn't need to buy the other beholder now, did I? Here we have an earth elemental, the large stone face in the middle of its chest, and some nice details there. Very simple painting there on the back. Actually, we'll go back. So this one's just painted up in gray. It's a little boring. The dragon with its treasure hoard in a nice red with flames coming out of its mouth. And then so here, stone and metal and some wood for that bolt thrower. And then for the grungs, we have them here in 3 different colors, green, red, and yellow. Next up, we have a bone claw, which looks like it says it is. It looks like it's got large bone claws. Some weird tentacles or eye tendrils, maybe shadows warping around it. It's a undead creature, it looks like. Very interesting. Okay. Then we have another unique D&D monster, I think, the Boulette, which is a tunneling monster that comes from underground. Very fun. Got some kind of gray hide there. Now this one did come pre-separated. They will of course be easier to store outside of this, although I don't know where I'm going to put them, which is not something I considered when I purchased this. So if you do decide to pick some up, be wise to figure out what you're doing for storage beforehand. So here we have a young brass dragon as opposed to our wormling dragon, much smaller. So young versus wormling. Wormlings are just hatched, I think, whereas this is an actual very large creature. Brass dragons are normally, as they say, brass. Here they've gone for red for the leather wings. But we also have a young cold dragon, which seems to be a decent sized larger than the brass dragon. Very cool scales. The wings on this one, I guess they both kind of are more dinosaur-y than I think of dragons. The wings kind of scroll down onto the tail. You can see it a little more clearly here on the cold dragon. I'm sorry, I misread that. A young gold dragon, not cold dragon, which I guess would have been a young white dragon instead of a cold dragon. Yeah, so apparently some of the bases are only for stability purposes, not for gameplay. And to round it out for the last mini, we have a young green dragon. So I guess the metallics in this edition have their wings go more down onto the tails, kind of more dinosaur-like. It's a better view, like there, so they kind of go into the tail frills. I'll just set him on top of the green there, or the brass. Whereas here we have the more typical appearance of the dragon in Western media, where you've got, wings with, in this case, little hooks on them, and then 2 forelimbs and 2 back limbs. A little less dinosaur-like, more typical Western dragon. And then we have the Chimera. So the box did come a little damaged, but I think I can just pop that back in and sort this out. This feels quite heavy for what looks to be a smaller mini than the dragons, but maybe it's just the difference in the box. But the box looks much deeper than it should for a mini of this size. I did say something about paint brushes being included, so maybe there's something else in the box. So we will take a look. Yes, so there's definitely some extra things in here. Oh, well, that's nice. I have no need of these, but more paintbrushes are always good. They'd be very good. Looks like you could use this as a palette. It's got little wells in there, a little clear container there, I guess, for mixing some colors if you want something else, and some paints, WizKid paints, I guess. So very cool. The box is much lighter now, so these paints were most of the weight. But that's the everything except for the normal beholder is from the Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures Mystery Box, which is still available at half off as of filming this. These are probably not miniatures I would have picked up outside of this box, to be honest. The dragons are a little large for me to store. And some of the other monsters are cool, like the Death Tyrant is one I actually looked at for picking up a beholder miniature. But some of the other ones are a little strange, but for a mystery box, it was quite fun. I guess I didn't read too closely when I looked at it, because I didn't realize it came with paints and brushes. They're primed and ready to paint, so I'll definitely be painting up the beholder. I don't know if I'll do some of these other ones anytime soon. So I wanted to do just a brief follow-up on the D&D minis. I did paint one of them, which is the one I had picked up the first time. If I had realized the Chimera had come with paints, I probably wouldn't have picked up these Pro Acryl paints, which I picked up their starter set because it was finally back in stock. So it comes with a good range of colors. And I have similar type colors from Games Workshop paints and some Vallejo. And if I had known that Chimera had come with paints, I might have held off on this. I probably would have still picked it up. Vallejo is normally fine, so if you decide to pick up a set that comes with them, or the Chimera box that comes with them, they're probably going to be just fine. I don't know how they'll be in those little tiny pots. Normally, Vallejo comes in dropper bottles. But they're probably going to be okay. It's a starter set. Comes with 2 brushes. The brushes were fine. They weren't super high quality, but for a starter set, you don't want super high quality. You want good enough, basically. So I used most of the colors in this box. The only ones I didn't use are the silver, the flesh wash, the yellow ochre, and the tan flesh. I just didn't feel like using any of those. I did consider painting up the beholder in a real fleshy color. I decided against it. I just didn't want to. One thing with these, and it does come with a note in them, but they are sealed. Now I've taken off the seals, which I should have left on here to show you, but it's just a little disc that sits in there. I took these off because if I don't, I'm probably not going to use these colors for a while, and I'll forget that that's what's on there. So just kind of future-proofing for myself. The body I did in Jade, which is the majority of the body in the little eye stalks. The some of the little spikes I did in dark umber. I'm not sure how you can see them, I think, on the camera. I did some of them in dark umber, and I did the others in coal black. Both went down really well. All these paints were pretty much one coat except for a bit of the white. Because I had done the mouth in this, what do they call it? Bold pyrrole red. I had originally done this like gum section in red, and I decided I didn't like it being that close to the green, so I went over it again in the green, but I missed a few spots and got it on the teeth. So the bottom teeth are one coat, but the top teeth are actually 2 coats, and I can't really tell the difference, although with one coat I could still see a lot more of the red coming through. The eyeballs, including the main eye, I did in dark gray blue. I had initially hoped for a lighter blue, but it works okay. I might go in and lighten up the center eye later on, but I think I'm going to leave it for now. The iris here I did in their rich gold. You could have probably also used I could have used the yellow ochre as well. I just thought the gold would kind of give it some contrast. And then for the pupil in the center there, I did use the coal black as well. I hit most of the body with the black wash to try to give it some texture, which went down okay. There's some spots where it was clearly too heavy, and you could fix that by going back over with green and being real careful with the application. I decided not to. It's a D&D mini. I'm not that concerned with it, but I do want to say the bold titanium white is probably one of the better whites I've used. I wish they sponsored me, but they do not. But it went down really well. It wasn't lumpy. It had good consistency and had great coverage. The only reason I had to do 2 coats was I could still see a little bit of the red, which happens with a lot of these paints. Single coat on pretty much everything. There's a few spots where I probably did 2 coats. Like some of the eyes got 2 coats because I missed sections because of the angle. So, I put up the paints and then noticed, oh, there's a spot that's just base primed resin. So, those got 2 coats, but generally speaking, 1 coat was really good. Really pleased with the Pro Acryl paints. I'll probably still keep using Games Workshop paints, but I'll definitely be looking at Pro Acryl to see if they've got some colors that would be good for it or that I'm interested in. So overall, pretty pleased though. I just wanted to include the painted up beholder because, well, I painted it and it was pretty fun. I did some of the spikes in green too. I thought there were probably more spikes than I wanted to do in brown and black, and I didn't really feel like pulling out a different color, although maybe, yeah, pretty much this side I did some of the spikes in green, but then this side there's one that's in green, and it just kind of helps break it up. I could probably go in and paint over probably 1 or 2 of these to give it a bit less lopsided, but I think it looks fine. I did its beard spikes in the black as well, so I can't really detach it from its stand. But I just wanted to include that. The mini did have some pretty bad mold lines. I mean, it's pre-primed, so there's nothing I'm going to do about it. Also, I think it's resin. I could check, but I don't remember offhand. If they're resin, they got to be resin. But they come pre-primed, so I'm not going to go in and take off the mold lines. And they're not so egregious that I'm upset about it. If it was a Games Workshop mini, I'd be annoyed with myself for not having done them, but those I'm working in plastic, and a lot of the mold lines were on these little eye stalks. They aren't really that bad. To be honest, now if I went in and dry brushed, that'd probably be a problem with it. But since I'm not doing that, it's probably okay. And I probably wouldn't dry brush the eye stalks anyway. The most I'd probably dry brush is the scales on the main body. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show off some of the. I just wanted to show the. One of the miniatures fully painted, and the paints I use. So if you want to, it's pretty easy. The Pro Acryl sets, if you're interested in painting, are quite nice so far. At least the starter set's been great. The starter set also does come with some brushes. I didn't use these brushes, so I don't know how they are. I imagine they're like any starter brush where they're okay. They'll get the job done. But they're not the best brush out there. But until you get used to painting and you figure out how to take care of your brushes and not damage them with the paint, and getting too much paint in the ferrules or damaging them on a mini, it's best just to not splurge on the good brushes, so that when you inevitably ruin a brush, which you will, I have ruined several, you didn't spend a huge amount of money on it, because some of the brushes get insanely expensive. So anyway, that's all for today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I will catch you next time. We'll be back with more Lego.